Go ahead, Zuma, take your bow. Oh gosh. Thank you, Zuma. Thank you for saying yes. Beautiful, beautiful. So we've been working with change all year, and our theme for the month is the change inside of me. The spiritual principles that we're working with today comes from what we believe, and we're working with spiritual principle number 7. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Spiritual principle number 8, we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. So there's a old hip-hop group called the Wu-Tang Clan. And some of y'all might know the Wu-Tang Clan, and some of y'all might not know the Wu-Tang Clan, but let me introduce you to them. And the Wu-Tang Clan has a song, one of their early hits, and the title of it is Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Blank With. Let me give it to you one more time. The Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to blank with. Okay. And every week as I'm preparing for the message on change, it runs across my mind. Change ain't nothing to blank with. Change ain't nothing to mess with. For real. It ain't nothing to mess with. So I want to start us out as a short reading from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. I'm on page 45. He says that one's mind should be continuously acknowledging the presence of good and the power of good in one's experience. A practitioner should acknowledge the power and presence of this good in the experience of the one who he seeks to help. For the acknowledgement of good is a creative act, making possible its manifestation in human experience. We should fast from the idea of lack and feast with the idea of plenty. We should fast from the idea of poverty and feast upon the belief in wealth, and most surely we should abstain from contemplating uncertainties and enter into a long and eternal period of feasting upon certainty. And when the world cries, "Whither goest thou?" something within us should answer, "We know in whom we have believed." At first, this fasting and feasting, this prayer and communion may seem a little difficult. We are all more or less surrounded by negation, and this is where the office of prayer enters. It establishes a certainty within the soul, enabling it to have confidence in that spirit of acceptance without which the divine gift is never complete. For how can a divine gift become complete until one accepts it? There is no song without a singer, and so we must learn joyfully to enter into our divine inheritance. What does all this mean other than we should learn to have confidence in life, to believe in the eternal goodness and accept the divine bounty? This transformation of thought from negation to affirmation is seldom instantaneous. So one must maintain a flexibility of thought, being willing to bend somewhat before the storms of life, but refusing to break. One's thought should have an elasticity which permits it to spring back into place. But it cannot do so unless it is first fully convinced that it does know in whom it has believed. Unless it is completely convinced that the universe is a spiritual system governed by a beneficent consciousness. What I found is that most of us, when we walk through these doors, and for those of us who's been around for a long time, that there is something before us that we have to deal with, and that is our unbelief or our disbelief. Many people walk through the doors, and that's the starting point. And many people have been here for 20 years or have been in this teaching for 20, 30, 40 years and find ourselves at that starting point again, dealing with our unbelief, our disbelief. And Ernest Holmes says that then let our first prayer be to heal my unbelief. To heal my unbelief. And what I found is that we spend a whole lot of time disbelieving and a little bit of time believing. We spend way more time disbelieving than we do believing. And I know that this is true for me in my life, particularly when I can look and see areas in my life where I have not changed. Where I have not changed. And so if we don't believe in love, and if we don't believe that the law is working for us, then we never get to the point where we can consider something new. If we never believe in the principles and we never engage in the practice, we never get to the point in our life where we can consider something new. Ernest Holmes said in the reading that believing is continuously acknowledging the presence of good and the power of good. Continually acknowledging the power of love in one's experience. He says, for the acknowledgement of good is setting the creative law into motion. It sets the law into motion. It is a creative act, making possible the manifestation in our human experience. It makes it possible that something new might enter into our life, that we might have a new experience. Our acknowledgement of good, our acknowledgement of God. Because the thing is that many of us have prayed for good and many of us are praying for good, but we have not provided a means and a way to accept the good. It's the song without the singer. We have prayed and have not created a way to accept the good. And so what Ernest Holmes says in their reading then is that we have not created the space then for our manifestation to be made complete. We say that we are whole, perfect, and complete. In this instance, we're talking about the completion of our manifestation, the completion of bringing the good into our human experience. That it's complete. And it's not complete due to our disbelief, our unbelief in love, perhaps our unbelief in the law and it's working for our good. See, belief, acceptance, and completion, they all go together. It's like a poly relationship. Okay, Nikki, we know you know what I'm talking. If nobody else got it, Nikki got that. The reading said you have to bend and be flexible in your thinking. Come on, people. Bend, be flexible in your thinking. Belief, acceptance, and completion, they all go together. It's how we manifest in our life. So the change inside of me leads me to understanding, as Joel Goldsmith says, that what we are dealing with then is, what we are dealing with at the present moment is not the appearance, but the way through which appearances disappear. We're not dealing with what's before us, but our work is to deal with the power and the presence, to acknowledge the supremacy of God in our life, and to use the power that's within us to begin to make the appearances or what seems real to disappear. That's the work. And so, way back in January then, when we first started talking about change, one of the things we said was that if you can't change your mind, you can't change nothing. If you can't change your mind, you can't change nothing. And so today's invitation, again, is an invitation of us to change our unbelief, to begin to change our disbelief. So I want to just read a little bit from a parentheses in eternity. This is Joel Goldsmith. I'm reading from page 146. He says, while human nature resists change, spiritual unfoldment compels change, breaking up the old patterns continuously. In fact, spiritual progress demands that every form be broken, no matter how good it is. I'm going to give that one to you one more time. Spiritual progress demands that every form be broken, no matter how good it is, no matter how comfortable life may be. Spirit will not let us rest in some degree of finiteness, even if that finiteness should be what the world calls $1 million or its equivalent. To spirit, that is still finiteness, and infinity does not mean that spirit is going to give us 2 million. It means that it is going to give us greater freedom, greater harmony, and increasingly less dependence on material forms and limitations. Advancing, evolving consciousness would ensure an improved state of affairs. But that improvement probably will not come as it should come as a natural evolution of progress, because human beings are too determined to hold on to what they have, and they will not give up their limitation for something unknown. Human nature tries to hold on to the past, to hold on to the present limitations. It is unwilling to break through for something else. If we were willing to surrender each day what we had yesterday, we would find something better tomorrow. But our very attempts to hold on to what we have takes it away from us by force. The only way in which we can remove the parentheses harmoniously and without pain is by allowing the changes to come without living in or trying to hold on to the past, and by not believing that every change means failure, even though it may temporarily carry with it a lack of some of the material comforts. The spiritual universe has a different set of values from that of the material. The spiritual universe has a different set of values. It demands that every form be broken, no matter how good it is, no matter how comfortable life might be. The spiritual world has different values. In other words, what you thought you knew about yesterday, it's time for it to be broken. What you think you know about this person or that person, it's time for it to be broken. It's time to let it go. What you think about your current situation, I'm gonna let you sit with it for a minute. Broken, let it go. That means that no matter what you think about yourself, what you think about your life, that every form must be broken. The spiritual world has different values. It doesn't care about yesterday. That it be broken. It doesn't care about the limited thoughts and the limited thinking that you had just a minute ago, it doesn't care about. It has different values. It doesn't care what you think about yourself and what you might be thinking about your life right now. No matter how good it is or how bad it may be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care about your thoughts and our limited thinking, our thoughts of lack. It's time to let it go. Every thought that we may have that we are not loved, broken, to let it go. Any thought, any idea of separation, that is sensing that we are not one with the one, it's time to let it